Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Here we are sitting in your beautiful library here, right opposite the cathedral. You have just turned 80 years old, 35 years as a Cardinal Archbishop of Vienna. And this is a very important moment because, in a sense, it's a summary of everything, and God willing, leading up with all your wisdom that you've gained, moving on to the next chapter in life. So, first of all, it's a great honor to be here and to be able to share this moment with you.
Thank you, Alon.
Very. When I called you on the phone and told you I was coming, I was so moved by how you reacted, because it showed the depth of your love and the appreciation, not from me, of course, but just for the fact that a Jew would come all the way from Jerusalem to be with you. Yeah.
And that you are this Jew.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, from the perspective of 80 years and all the work that you've done, I want to talk about friendship. I want to put in context that friendship is one important aspect of your theology. In fact, you've written on it. In fact, there's been a book offered to you. In fact, I've contributed to this book that was offered to you on friendship. Tell me about why friendship across religions is important theoretically, and how has that been a part of your own spiritual journey?
Yeah, friendship is the only way to really come together. That's Aristotle says, amicus amico amicus. Friendship is always mutual. I cannot say that I'm friend with King Charles. I just met him once, and he certainly has forgotten that we have seen. That's not friendship, but to know each other, to share, friendship is mutual. That's basic, and the essence of friendship is benevolencia. Says Thomas Aquinas, benevolencia. To the will of the good of the other. And friendship is always turned to the other. It's not me that consumes the friendship, but it is always shared.
So is it instrumental, or is it in some way just an expression of the fullness of love, regardless of any instrumentality it may have?
Instrumentality is hostile to friendship. It can become instrumental for a good purpose, but that cannot be the meaning of friendship. Friendship is c'est gratuit. It's
free.
It's free. It's free. It is it's not utility.
Not utilitarian.
It's not utilitarian to use a friendship for your own promotion. Yeah, that's hostile to friendship. Yeah? Friendship can become instrumental. I think the friendship between these three men who are at the basis of the European integration, Robert Schuman, Konrad Adenauer, and Alcide de Gasperi, three men in high political position. But what brought them together was something greater. It was this feeling of something common that is greater than themselves. Finally, you can say it is the feeling of being brought together by God's will. Why not? Yeah. And then friendship is it's an immense pleasure. It's joyful. A friendship without humor is cannot exist. Yeah.
I'm going to say that tomorrow in my talk. Actually,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm going to go to your.
Because to love and to weep together, yeah, that's so important because it is la légèreté de la vie. La,
The light touch of life.
Yeah, the light touch of life. It makes difficult situations bearable. Yeah. Therefore, friendship is consolation.
Now I know why you like me. It's just my humor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, if I can interrupt you, which I just did, you grew up in a monastic tradition, so as a Dominican. So you've lived life as a Dominican. You were in academic circles. You were in ecclesial context. How does the experience of friendship feel to you different in these different contexts?
It's always the same. It is independent of the social. No, there can be a real friendship between cardinals. Yeah? There can be a real friendship in monastic life. There can be real friendship, which is a more difficult question between men and women.
Well, you mean celibate men?
Celibate men.
Celibate, because regular people have less difficulty with it.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah, but also friendship in married life. I think that not being married, but I think the element of friendship within marriage is very essential. Yeah, friendship is it's not dependent of the social status. Of course, common interests helps friendship, common culture, but all these elements. There can be a deep friendship between people of very different social standards. Yeah.
Is there any story or important friendship that you can share with us that will illustrate what you've just said?
The deep friendship with a Dominican confrere, yeah, lifelong, at least for the 60 years of our religious life. We have shared so many important moments in our life, academically, intellectually, in ecclesial situations, in human, in family situations. I can't explain it why it is, but it is so important.
So the word you use isn't just love. The word you use isn't just love. The word you use is sharing.
Yeah.
It sounds like friendship really, in your experience, is all about deep sharing across different dimensions of life. Is that a fair understanding?
Exactly. Yeah. It is in the Greek tradition, in the Stoic tradition. There are the four loves. Yeah. The storge is the family love, the parents for the children, family bonds. Yeah. Storge. Yeah. that's affective affection that holds the family together. There is eros, yeah, eros with all its dimension into sexuality, but also the eros. Then is philia. Philia is friendship, and philia is friendship. That's another dimension. And then there is caritas, agape, which is the love of self-donation. So this, I think, this distinction of these four dimensions is very helpful.
So which of these four is especially important for sharing, or are they all equally important?
Sharing of storge is taking care of the family, the vital bounds of the family. Eros is sharing the attraction. Philia, friendship, is C.S. Lewis has an interesting image. Friendship is looking together in the same direction. Eros is looking each other. I think this is true. Friendship is this going together. Yeah.
Talk to me about friendship, speech, and silence. Because when you quote C.S. Lewis about looking together in the same direction, you don't need to talk. It's just enough that you're looking in that direction.
Yeah.
So how does friendship play out in the dynamic of speech versus silence? In your experience, I really want to hear about your path, not ideas, but your own experience.
Friendship needs to be nourished. But interesting is that friendship can suffer quite a long period of silence.
Silence between the people talking? I meant silence of common contemplation.
Yeah.
Not silence, just absence.
Yeah. Common contemplation is, of course, in my experience, when you share insights together.
So that passes through speech.
Yeah, but behind the speech is a previous dimension is that mutual sharing of deep convictions. Yeah.
So now, if I could ask you to share with me about your friendships with people of other faiths, is that similar, different to your experience of friendships, within the monastic order, within your Christian reality?
That's an important question. Basically, I would say I have some friendships with long-standing friendships with people whose conviction I do not share. But there's a feeling that we have a common ground.
So that is a level of conviction. In other words, what you're doing is you're moving from a particularity of a certain conviction, let's say faith in the redeeming power of Christ, to another more fundamental level of conviction, the existence of God or relationship with Him. That's still a conviction, just a more fundamental level.
And the deepest is the respect, the respect of a human, of humanity. If there is I think about a friendship with a person that has had a life very different, in very different contexts as mine. But there is a deep respect and grew into a friendship on the basis of human respect.
So tell me, in your
A
experience,
mensch, a mensch.
a mensch. I
A
understand.
mensch.
I understand the point.
A mensch.
I will tell you that for me, my friendships with people of a spiritual life, I think, have an added dimension and a deeper dimension than people that only have a common human dimension.
Yeah,
Is this also your experience?
that's certainly true. But when you meet somebody as a mensch, yeah, there is always a spiritual dimension. It is not possible otherwise. There must not be explicit, but if he is really a mensch, yeah, he has a spiritual dimension.
Okay. But let's move to the more particular religious element. Could you be a closer friend to a person of another faith than to a friend in your own faith?
That's the case. When I think about my dear friend Tommy Frankel,
He's a painter?
the son of the painter.
Son of the painter.
Yeah. It's a true friendship. We do not discuss about religion, but we joke about when he calls me on Shabbat. I say, Tommy, how can you call me on Shabbat? It's not allowed.
I will tell you that I probably have more and closer spiritual friends outside Judaism than within Judaism, or at least as many. In other words, I can't say that the fact that I share a religion and teaching and mitzvot and customs necessarily predisposes me to being closer to people of my faith, because friendship happens from a certain meeting of spirit.
Yeah.
And very often I find an openness to spirit amongst people in other faiths that creates greater friendships.
Yeah, but this is because that's the mensch. For me, a mensch is always something spiritual.
Mm.
Yeah, that's humanity. I said about this other friend who has a very different lifestyle and different history than mine. But he's a mensch.
But isn't everyone a mensch?
Yes, everyone is a mensch, but sometimes you meet as a mensch, yeah, and that's different. Yeah, we should respect each other always as a mensch, but there's yeah. I met in him in a very different context of my life. I met a deep humanity. Yeah.
Does your particular Christian faith ever become an impediment to forming friendships with people of other faiths?
No, never.
Never.
Never. Never. Never. For me, Jesus is, as Pope Francis often says, todos, 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 all. There's no exclusion. Even to the enemies, where humanly speaking there is everything is rebuking, but I think this todos, 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 this is
So you see Christ in everyone, and therefore there's no boundary.
There is no boundary when Jesus says, I was hungry and you gave me to eat. I was in prison and you came to see me. Uh, this identification with every human being, a mensch. And the reverse, the so to say, the contrast is the shock about an unhuman treatment of people. When I saw now the people in the aeroplane transferred from U.S. to Latin America in a military aeroplane as shackled as criminals, and at the airport in Cartagena they had to land, and the authorities of Colombia unbound these people and said they are human beings. It's not this shock. How can you treat a human person like that? It's not. Even as a criminal, he has the right to be respected as a human person. Yeah. And when we heard about Saidnaya, this horrible prison in Syria, I passed 3 times when I visited the village of the city of Saidnaya in Syria, knowing that behind the hill is this awful prison, one of the worst in the world. Yeah. To imagine that there are plenty of people treated like worse than animals, yeah, by human beings. This is when the shock about Mengele and these people. How is it possible? This loss of humanity. And yeah, this is for me. Jesus told us all. You cannot treat a human person without respect.
So when religions meet, or if you will, people in religions share, to go back to the term we used, should they be talking about their common humanity, or should they be encountering their spiritual particularity?
Absolutely, the spiritual particularity, because I remember when I met Jonathan Sachs in a San Egidio meeting many years ago. I said, what is the meaning of an interreligious meeting is that we share what is the most precious for us. Yeah. So I spoke.
How did he respond?
I gave a short talk and I just said, why Jesus is for me the friend, more than every other title. He is the person I love, and he said, I call you friends, and that's my device as a bishop. I call you friends. And Jonathan Sachs then afterwards said, thank you for sharing this. I want to hear what is your why is the Torah so joyful for you?
You said that to him?
No, I
he
said that to you. I said that to you.
To me.
I said that, why Simchat Torah? Why can you embrace the Torah as a bride? Yeah, that's what is interesting for me. That's what is moving me. Yeah?
You know, people watching the podcast won't know this, but half an hour ago, I gave you this present. It's my book, Covenant and World Religions. Irving Greenberg, Jonathan Sachs, and the Quest for Orthodox Pluralism. And it's really interesting that you go back to this encounter with him. I would love for you to tell me after you've read this whether you think, because he said thank you for sharing, but was he equally interested in the particularity? I think one of the theses of this book is that for him friendship was about the commonality, not the particularity. And I think many Jews avoid getting into the particularity, the spiritual testimony, the experience, the energy, the saints, the spiritual life of the other. They want to talk about common society, morality, the mensch.
Yeah, the mensch, that's true. But I have loved the book of this great specialist of Islamic mystic, siehst du, den Namen fallen mir nicht ein. I knew her personally.
Just tell me when he lived.
She died. Anne-Marie Schimmel, exactly.
Yeah. This is where my 12 years work in my favor.
Yeah. Her book on the love of Muhammad in the Islamic life. Yeah. If you read that book, it goes to your heart, because the love of the Prophet is something so real. Yeah. And that moves me. That's how I love the Islam, the Muslim. When I feel that the love for the Prophet is something existential in their life.
You know, we're creating the center in Assisi for the different religions, House of Friendship and Hope. And the spiritual testimony comes from St. Francis and his encounter with the Sultan al-Malik. And one of the features there was how impressed Francis was with the devotion of the Sultan and the 5 daily prayers, and I believe also the 99 beautiful names of God, which he then took as his own inspiration. In other words, Francis had that capacity to be inspired in the way that you're describing your inspiration from the people you read about in Schimmel's book.
Yeah.
But going back to Sachs, so how did he respond to your message of appreciating the particular?
Well, it was a short conversation, but he was grateful for that testimony from within, what is the most precious. Because I said what is important in the interreligious dialogue is to find out the point where it is alive. Yeah.
We both share that.
Yeah.
There's an interview in this book with Rowan. We spoke earlier about Rowan Williams as a common friend. There's an interview here that I did with Rowan on this particular question, and it'll be interesting for you to read Rowan's perspective as Sachs's primary interfaith partner on Rowan's approach, on Sachs's approach. So, being inspired, then, I mean, have you been to, you mentioned earlier, why do Jews dance on Simchat Torah when we complete the reading of the Torah annually? Have you been to synagogue on Simchat Torah?
No.
You've never?
Never.
So it's just an idea for you.
Yeah. I've read about, I've read the beautiful book of the Bella Chagall about her memory of the Jewish feasts. Yeah.
Am I right that we were the first people who had the honor of having you for a Shabbat meal at home? Is that correct or not?
No, I have had Shabbat dinner here in Vienna before.
Okay. Yeah. But you haven't been to the synagogue. Well, now that you're retiring, you can start going to the synagogue more regularly.
I'm invited now in March to at least to a meeting of the council of the synagogue.
So it would be really interesting if now, as you have more time, because I know you've had the inclination, if you have more time to spend time in the spiritual company of people in worship and other faiths, because that really is, to me personally, that's the depth of friendship. When we're inspired by the depth. But it sounds to me like you completely understand that based on your internal Christian understanding, but your circumstances haven't allowed you to practice this really
Very little.
Very little.
Very little. I have not shared Islamic prayer. I never have assisted in a real synagogue service.
Never.
Never.
I don't know if you can, I don't know if you can get to heaven without it.
So
we have to fix this.
I must taste.
Yeah. Well, no, we just discussed that. You still have some time left.
Yeah.
But you see, so these are the things that I would hope for you. Now that you turned 80 last week, and last week you left the episcopate. These are the kinds of experiences that I personally, as a friend, would hope for you can now open up, just because circumstances allow you to do more of that.
Yeah, that's right.
I promise you the following. When you come to Israel, I will be very happy to take you around to places that most Christians never get to. Hasidic communities. We went together. We went to Safed.
We went to Sfat together.
Yeah, and you entered spaces. I took you to meet some Hasidic friends there that, they haven't seen a cardinal, and a cardinal has never seen them.
Yeah.
Right. And what was the experience of that encounter?
And I never forget that we were in a place where normally a goy cannot go.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah, but I think I took you to meet people in the Breslov Hasidism, and I think you were struck by their open-heartedness and their engagement of you as who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the ways to construct friendship. So maybe instead of drawing on your testimony, we can turn this into a particular wish and hope for you that in the coming years and the new circumstances, you can master yet another dimension of sharing, of friendship and prayer across religions.
Thank you.
Maybe we should conclude with a prayer.
I always, every morning, I pray the Psalm 95.
Why, when I ask you for a prayer, do you choose that?
Because always the central passage is, today, if you listen, heute, wenn ihr seine Stimme hört, if you hear his voice, do not harden your heart, as it was in Meribah at the day of test. Yeah.
So a few verses in Latin would be a nice change from the other languages we usually have.
Hodie, si vocem eius audieritis, nolite obdurare corda vestra, sicut in Meribah, secundum diem tentationis in deserto.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the beautiful sharing.
Thank you, Alon.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's friendship.
Thank God.